Do you feel that the fatigue does not go away? That the desire is gone, the sleep is no longer the same, and the mornings seem more and more difficult? Maybe the problem is with your dinner. In this eye-opening video, you'll find out the 3 nighttime foods that sabotage your energy without you realizing it. What to eat in the place to sleep better, wake up in a better mood, and regain desire. How dinner influences your hormones, your sleep, and even your mood. And why changing now can be the key to transforming your health after 60. Watch it to the end, because small changes in your nighttime diet can mean big changes in your vitality. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive more videos about health, energy, and well-being in old age. Just after 19 o'clock, many houses go into automatic mode. Pots on the fire, bread in the toaster, cheeses and cold cuts scattered on the table, and that old belief, let's eat well at night because tomorrow is another day. But tomorrow for those who are in old age has been taking an increasingly high price. And this price starts precisely on the plate, and at the wrong time. Dinner, which should prepare the body for rest, often turns into the silent saboteur of sleep, energy, and even desire. But the problem is not only in what you eat, it is in the way the body reacts, especially after the age of 60. With advancing age, metabolism slows down, the digestive system slows down, the release of enzymes is reduced, and the body needs more time and care to process what once seemed harmless. A white loaf of bread at night, for example, can be enough to cause insulin spikes, disrupt the release of melatonin, and transform sleep into a sequence of micro-awakenings that no one notices. But that leaves the body exhausted when it wakes up. A glass of whole milk, which so many people consider healthy, can bring gastric discomfort and impair the quality of sleep in those who already have more sensitive digestion. And cold cuts, such as ham, salami, bologna, are rich in sodium, saturated fats, and preservatives that inflame the body, raise blood pressure, and affect cardiovascular health at night. In addition, the night is the time when the body most needs hormonal balance. This is when melatonin, the sleep hormone, is produced, and also when there is a release of GH, growth hormone, essential for cell regeneration and for the proper functioning of the immune system. Eating wrong at night not only disrupts sleep, but also directly interferes with this natural recovery cycle. The result? Persistent tiredness, difficulty concentrating, falling desire, and that constant feeling that something is out of control. But what few people know is that night eating also has a direct impact on testosterone production, both in men and women. Studies show that a diet rich in inflammatory foods at night can significantly reduce free testosterone levels in the blood. And when this hormone falls, along with it goes libido, disposition, muscle strength, and even self-esteem. In other words, it's not just about weight loss or digestive health. It's about keeping the body active, the brain awake, and the desire alive, even after 60. Another common mistake at night is the consumption of alcohol as a form of relaxation. A glass of wine, a glass of beer, or even a liquor to help you sleep may seem harmless, but it acts in exactly the opposite direction. Alcohol alters the architecture of sleep, reduces REM sleep, responsible for deep mental rest, and even interferes with nocturnal hormone production. Even worse, when it is accompanied by salty, fried, or sweet snacks, an explosive combination for the nervous system and the liver, which has to work twice as hard during the night. And that's where the question comes. If all this is sabotaging the body, what should be done? The good news is that changing this scenario does not require great sacrifices. In fact, replacing just 3 or 4 dinner elements is enough to radically transform sleep, energy, and hormonal balance in a few days. It all starts with the recognition that dinner needs to be light, functional, and appropriate to the new phase of the body. The logic here is simple. The easier it is to digest, the more energy is left for the body to do what it really needs to do during the night: repair cells, balance hormones, preserve the brain, and activate libido. The first key is to eliminate inflammatory foods. White bread, refined pasta, cured cheeses, sausages, sweets, and alcoholic beverages need to be avoided. In their place, foods of high biological value, with a low glycemic index and natural calming properties come in. We are talking about a dinner that does not overwhelm, but prepares the body for the deepest possible rest. The second key is in choosing the right time to eat. Late dinners after 20 hours and 30 minutes make the body need to digest just when it should be releasing important hormones. Eating earlier, between 18 and 19 hours, allows for complete digestion before bed, reducing reflux, sleep disturbances, and abdominal fat accumulation. And the third key is in the composition of the dish. A good dinner for those seeking energy, rest, and hormonal vitality includes a serving of light protein, such as shredded organic chicken, hard-boiled eggs, or tofu, a source of good fat, such as extra virgin olive oil or avocado, boiled or sautéed vegetables, such as zucchini, carrots, chayote, spinach, and a small portion of complex carbohydrates, such as sweet potatoes, quinoa, or brown rice in small amounts. Soothing spices like turmeric, basil, and rosemary can enhance the relaxation effects and help the body naturally enter a state of deep rest. But most important of all is to understand that dinner is not just a meal. For those who are in old age, it becomes one of the pillars of health the next day. What you eat today defines how you wake up tomorrow. And your body, especially after 60, no longer has time to waste on excesses, repeated mistakes, or nocturnal habits that exhaust instead of regenerating. Because sleeping poorly, losing desire, and waking up without energy, it is not an inevitable consequence of age. It is often just the reflection of a dinner that can and needs to change. Right after the wrong dinner comes the silent dawn, and the body begins to pay the bill. While on the outside everything seems calm, on the inside a real battle ensues. The liver tries to metabolize toxins, the stomach still works hard to digest fats, insulin remains high, and the brain, deprived of deep rest, cannot consolidate memories or balance neurotransmitters as it should. That is why, even sleeping for 7 or 8 hours, many elderly people wake up tired, irritable, and with that feeling that they have not rested. And this has a name: non-restorative sleep, one of the main symptoms associated with eating the wrong way at night. Scientific research carried out in the last 10 years has revealed a clear connection between sleep quality and nighttime eating habits, especially in people over 60 years old. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine pointed out that diets rich in saturated fats and simple carbohydrates during dinner drastically reduce deep sleep time, phase N3, responsible for the body's physical and immune recovery. Another alarming data came from a survey carried out at Harvard University, which showed that the frequent consumption of heavy meals after 19 hours increases the risk of metabolic disorders in adults over 65 years old by up to 42%, such as insulin resistance, accumulation of visceral fat, and chronic low-grade inflammation. But what does this have to do with desire? Everything. Desire is not born on impulse. It is born in hormonal balance, in the vitality of the body, and in the quality of the mind-body connection. When the body is inflamed, sleep is shallow and testosterone levels drop. Desire, sensitivity, and pleasure also decrease. This affects both men and women in old age. Dinner, in this context, is no longer just a moment of eating and becomes a thermometer of vitality. A body that sleeps well, digests lightly, and wakes up refreshed naturally responds better to life's stimuli, including effective and sensual ones. That is why the first thing to do to regain your vigor is to observe what goes into the dish after 18 o'clock. It's not about cutting calories or living on leaves. It is about choosing foods that nourish, soothe, and signal to the body that the night is the time for recovery. And that requires food intelligence, not restriction. Let's talk about practical solutions. Starting with a simple and powerful substitute. Swap out the white bread and yellow cheese for a chickpea cream with steamed vegetables. Chickpeas are rich in tryptophan, an amino acid precursor to serotonin and melatonin, which help regulate mood and sleep. When combined with magnesium-rich vegetables like spinach, zucchini, and cauliflower, the calming effect is even more potent. Another effective substitution is to swap pasta and white rice for pumpkin puree with shredded chicken. Pumpkin has a low glycemic index, is rich in beta-carotene, and helps with intestinal health. Chicken, on the other hand, provides lean protein that sustains the body through the night without overloading. And for those who miss something sweet at night, the ideal is to prepare a functional dessert with ingredients that help the body relax. An effective example is mashed banana cream with cocoa powder and a little chia seed. This combination offers satiety, improves serotonin production, and contributes to deeper, more continuous sleep. In addition to the choice of food, the night ritual also directly influences the result. Avoiding screens, bright lights, arguments, or excessive stimuli after dinner creates an environment conducive to melatonin release. Drinking chamomile tea with lavender or valerian half an hour after eating enhances relaxation and helps the body naturally prepare for sleep. Another important point is to respect the time between the last meal and bedtime. Sleeping on a full stomach forces the body to divert energy from sleep to digestion, creating discomfort such as reflux, night agitation, and excessive sweating. Ideally, dinner should take place between 18 and 19 hours. At bedtime should be around 21 hours and 30 minutes, thus ensuring at least 2.5 hours of active digestion before rest. And if you're thinking, but I've always eaten like this and never had a problem, it's worth remembering. What the body tolerates at 30, it demands at 60. Digestive capacity, hormonal sensitivity, and metabolic speed change with age. And the good news is that with simple changes, it is possible to restore not only sleep, but disposition, mood, and the pleasure of living. Just start with the dinner plate, because sometimes what's sabotaging your energy isn't time, it's not age. It's just what you insist on eating, and the time you insist on eating. The most powerful changes happen in the details, and when it comes to nighttime feeding, a detail that makes all the difference is the order in which the food is consumed. Studies show that starting dinner with fiber-rich vegetables, such as broccoli, green beans, or kale, helps reduce the speed of digestion of the carbohydrates consumed afterwards. This prevents glucose spikes, improves satiety, and favors more stable sleep. It seems like a simple adjustment, but it can mean the difference between a bad night's sleep and a truly restorative night. Another crucial point, and often ignored, is the temperature of the food. Meals that are too hot or too cold at night can harm the digestive system and make it difficult for the body to adapt to the nighttime rhythm. Warm dishes, at a comfortable temperature, are better assimilated, reduce gastric effort, and promote a state of internal balance. This is especially important in older adults with reflux, gastritis, or bowel sensitivity. But transformation doesn't just happen in the body. It is reflected in routine, behavior, mood, and self-esteem. When sleep improves, the mind wakes up lighter, the willingness to walk increases, desire returns naturally, and even mood stabilizes. Night feeding, in this sense, is not just a health strategy. It's a rescue of vitality, a reconnection with what really matters, feeling good inside your own body. And this transformation, when well guided, is rapid. Many patients report a difference in the first 3 days. Within a week, the sleep pattern changes. In 15 days, the intestine regulates, abdominal swelling decreases, and awakening becomes lighter. In a month, the disposition in the morning is visible, and with it, a new motivation arises to take care of the body, mind, and affective bonds. But for this to happen, it is necessary to overcome 3 silent saboteurs: custom, haste, and self-deception. The custom goes, I have always eaten this, and I have always slept well, but the body changes. What was once tolerated now weighs, and to deny this change is to prevent health from evolving. The hurry says, I'll eat anything just so I don't go to bed hungry. But anything at night is expensive. It may be what prevents testosterone from being produced, melatonin from being released, or GH from acting correctly in deep sleep. And self-deception says, this bread and cheese and a glass of milk don't hurt anyone. But they do, especially for those over 60 years old, high cholesterol, mild insomnia, or a drop in desire. That's why creating a functional nighttime routine is just as important as eating well during the day. Dinner needs to be planned with the same care as you plan breakfast, because it is at night that the body decides what the next day will be like. And if you want energy, desire, and mental clarity, it all starts on the plate even before bed. So let's go to 3 more practical suggestions that can be applied today. 1. Lentil soup with ginger and turmeric. Lentils provide vegetable protein, iron, and fiber. Ginger and turmeric are natural anti-inflammatories that promote sleep and improve intestinal health. A light, warm soup without sour cream or flour can be the best ally for a night without fuss. 2. Egg white omelet with sautéed spinach. Rich in light protein, calcium, and magnesium, this combination nourishes without weighing you down. Spinach has a calming effect and helps in the production of feel-good neurotransmitters. Use extra virgin olive oil and avoid yellow cheeses. If you want a special touch, add golden flaxseed. 3. Warm apple food with cinnamon. A sweet, sugar-free alternative that calms the nervous system and reduces the craving for artificial sweets. The apple, lightly cooked, releases pectin, which improves intestinal transit. Cinnamon regulates blood glucose and warms the body, favoring deeper sleep. And if you still have doubts about how to adapt these changes to your reality, remember, the body speaks. Waking up tired, without energy, and without desire for anything is not an inevitable fate. It is a warning, and dinner, silently, can be the trigger of everything. Because what you put on your plate at night, it may be determining whether your body will recover or continue to burn out. And if there is one certainty that is learned over time, it is that the body does not lie. He signals, complains, reacts, and over the years, it stops hiding what has been neglected. The tiredness when you wake up, the confused mind in the early hours of the day, the lack of motivation for simple activities, the desire that slowly disappears. All this does not happen by chance. The basis of health, energy, and disposition begins where you least expect it, on the dinner plate. And that's why, by correcting what they eat at night, many elderly people rediscover their own vitality and are surprised to find that the pleasure of living is still there, just dormant under layers of bad habits. To understand this impact, it is important to remember that the body follows natural biological rhythms called circadian rhythms. They regulate the release of hormones, digestion, body temperature, brain function, and even mood. When eating late at night or eating inflammatory foods, these rhythms are disorganized. Cortisol, which should fall at night, remains elevated. Melatonin, which should rise, is suppressed. The result is a body that sleeps poorly, produces fewer sex hormones, accumulates visceral fat, and ages faster. When you eat dinner early and lightly, these same rhythms are rebalanced. The body understands that it can rest. The liver enters the detoxification phase. Insulin levels drop, and GH, growth hormone, is released, essential for cell regeneration. It is at this time that the immune system is strengthened, the skin is renewed, and the brain performs its nightly cleaning. All of this happens during deep sleep, and it starts with what you had for dinner. Another fundamental point is the relationship between sleep and libido. Studies show that men who sleep less than 6 hours a night have testosterone levels up to 25% lower. In women, sleep deprivation affects lubrication, touch response, and contact interest. In other words, there's no point in using supplements, hormones, or stimulants if the body is exhausted inside. Before any other strategy, it is necessary to restore the base, and it is in the eating routine. Therefore, for those who want to age with more vitality, the new question that must be asked every night is not, what will I eat? But rather, what am I giving to my body so that it can restore me? This shift in consciousness transforms everything, and it starts in small steps. Eat up to 19 hours. Avoid fried foods, yellow cheeses, sausages, pasta, and sweets after 18. Choose natural, easily digestible, fiber-rich foods with anti-inflammatory potential. Drinking soothing teas instead of processed desserts. Create a calm after-dinner environment, low light, light talk, deep breathing. Turn off screens at least 30 minutes before bedtime. These simple actions have the power to restore something that many believed lost. The pleasure of waking up with energy, of feeling the body light, and of realizing that age is not a limit, but an opportunity to live more wisely. Because longevity is not about living longer. It is to live longer with quality, and quality requires awareness. So if you feel that your energy is no longer the same, you realize that desire is weak, sleep is shallow, and constant tiredness, don't just blame age. Start with dinner. Change what you put on your plate. And notice how the body responds. Sometimes, what separates chronic tiredness from full vitality, it's just one less spoonful of bad food, and one more choice for you.